Welcome to this EDUcast, delivering a successful contact center, sponsored by BBX Technologies and Telecom Reseller. With me today is Mark Buazi, Executive Director of BBX Technologies, and I'm Gary Austin. As we always do, let's talk about our agenda. We're going to be discussing business goals of the contact center, while on the other hand, the challenges of the contact center. Something that's very important, how do you measure success with the contact centers? We're going to cover some best practices, talk about feedback, customer feedback, and agent feedback. We're also going to talk more about agents and their attrition and training. And finally, some success tips that we think would be worthwhile for you to know. So let's start off with this first slide. This is an interesting chart. Would you discuss some of the goals that are displayed here?
Yes, Gary, thank you. And thank you for having me today on this EDUcast on the successes of a contact center. And yeah, this is an interesting chart, and it is no surprise to anyone or to me that service quality, productivity, cost reduction, channel support, those are on the top as far as percentages in this pie. But it's also interesting to look at the aggregate of the other ones, the staff related, the technology, the analytics. Those actually, if you add them together, they do contribute into getting a better service quality and productivity. So it is no surprise that these percentages are the way they show.
Turns out, and I'm sure you've encountered them, there are tons of challenges out there for call centers. What do you think are the top 2 or 3 challenges on this slide?
Again, all those are very important challenges that face every contact center director every day. But of course, when you talk about agent turnover and training, these are usually at the top. All contact centers are after stopping customer frustration by offering better service. This is also an important one. And the growing one is allowing the agents to follow media changes. This is obviously a very, very important topic, and I'm sure we're going to cover more of it as we go over this presentation.
Now, we've talked about the challenges. The next issue that I'm bringing up is, what do you need to measure to determine call center success?
I mean, the call center success, there are some analytics, some measurements that are key, and the one that we can measure are usually the call handle time. These are important ones. The first call resolution, there is nothing that frustrates a customer more than being transferred from department to department and being put on hold all the time. So first call resolution is a very important one. And all of this, we're doing that to get a better customer satisfaction so that customers can call back, feel comfortable into calling the call center and getting the help they need.
Staying on this page for a moment, I have at the top support cost versus revenue. Is that sometimes difficult to measure?
Yes, of course it is. We can do a lot of reports in a call center, measure answer time, response, quickness of hold time, and so on. But when it comes down to cost and revenue in a contact center, they are somewhat related. You just got to look at trends. When you apply a new system or a new principle, you got to look at trends for your cost and the trends for your revenue. And these are the best way to measure those things.
You were talking about the agent being able to move among media. That brings up the term omnichannel, right? Omnichannel seems to be the way to go. Would you explain omnichannel for us?
Yes, I mean, a lot of people are used to multi-channel. We've heard about that. But the multi-channel are more of a silo type environment where agents are dedicated to a specific media. And it's been like that for a while. The omnichannel is a multi-channel with some added components, like adding multiple reach points with the same customer, multiple media. For example, you could be on a web chat session, and that turns into a voice call on the same agent with the same customer. So omnichannel brings another dimension to multi-channel, and we are seeing a tremendous uptick on the omnichannel part of our business.
On this slide, we have a whole series of statistics. Would you interpret some of them for us, please?
Yes, I mean, some of these numbers, we all knew that some of those were happening, but I'm glad that we're actually seeing some percentages and some numbers on those. For example, that omni-channel is 90% greater year over year, it's really no surprise to people in our industry, because we see it in front of our eyes how these growths are happening, but the number is pretty significant. Second one, for example, the campaigns, when you have 4 or more digital channels, that increases by 300%. And this statistic is very, very revealing, that by increasing the number of digital channels, for example, combining a voice auto outbound campaign with an email marketing campaign, adding social media events to that, and web chat and web campaigns on marketing, would increase these numbers by a large number of percentages. So yeah, these numbers are very, very important and very revealing for omni-channel in our industry.
As we talk about omni-channel, and omni-channel seems to be one of the ways to go, what are some other the better practices that we could follow?
Yes, from this list of best practices, I mean, all of them are really good. And of course, if you have a successful contact center, you need to have them all deployed. Customer loyalty, it all starts there. Now, allowing customers to choose their media, as we said here previously, that's becoming key in today's contact centers. Low customer churn, yes, when you have a customer, you want to keep them. First contact resolution. Now, all of those, really, if somebody be listening to this EDUcast, remember these as being really key to having a successful contact center.
We're talking about the customers, and I think customer feedback is extremely important. How do you gain customer feedback? What are some of the factors you should measure?
Yes, I got to tell you, Gary, for the past couple of years, 2 or 3 years, we have been proposing a lot of survey, part of our contact center offering, and everybody's asking for that. Surveys, whether it's the typical after-call survey when the call terminates, whether it's collecting a survey after a web chat is completed, whether it's sending an email to get a survey for after the customer. Surveys are becoming key in measuring contact center success. But what we have to do as contact center software professionals is offer those tools to our customers so that the customers can take those surveys and don't make it into a difficult or tedious task, but make it really integrated. But that's a key component in today's contact center.
I understand that agent attrition has always been a problem. Would you focus on this for a minute?
Yes, I mean, every time we talk contact center, every time we talk agents, this, of course, topic comes in. Agent attrition. It is one of the challenges in contact center space. And we know the reasons, so I think all of us here in the industry, we're trying to focus on solutions. And those solutions vary. They can range from company social programs, work environment, and of course, technology. So from a technology perspective, is we need to get the agents involved, give them software that is easy to use, give them frequent training on the technology being used, try to minimize the number of softwares they have on their desktop, for example, like to do multiple tasks, try to combine that into one, make it easy to use. So from a technology, we can assist that way to alleviate this issue, and the other ones can be done at the company level.
We've talked about the customer feedback. I think the agent feedback is just as important, especially to reduce that attrition. Would you focus on that for us?
Oh, sure. And Gary, I'm glad you are bringing this topic. I mean, everybody focuses on customer surveys, and I think we understand that, and we're providing all these nice software tools to do customer feedback. But a lot of times, people forget about agent feedback as well, because those can be just as important. So for that, for example, on a Vuesion product, we do offer agent feedback software that is part of the contact center, where an agent can select some feedback after each call on the after-call resolution with multi-level and notes, and then provide some reporting and analytics on the back end to also get the feedback from agent. And this has been a very, very successful program.
When we talk about the agent feedback, I think of the word training. Would you discuss some of the agent training requirements?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there is no question that agents make the contact center successful. They are key point here for the success. But in terms of training, you got to understand that in the world of software, whatever it is, whether it's contact center software, whether it's CRM software, agents are presented with lots of technology on their desktop. And the technology changes. There is upgrades. We all know that. Software upgrades on CRMs, on contact centers, and so on. And every time there is an upgrade, there is additional features. There is some functionality that has changed. So keeping some training, especially if they are video recorded, which is another successful program we do, is record those training sessions, make them available into a library within the company, and have those agents take those training periodically is another very, very good item to have in a successful contact center.
You just mentioned the video of the agents. Do you find some agents actually find out they do things they didn't realize?
Yes, a lot of them do things their own way, even though the software is supposed to help them do certain tasks. But we find that some agents are doing it a little bit differently from other agents. So we are recommending to our customers to actually create a best practices video for agents and say, hey, if you try to input this kind of data, if you're trying to do it this way, click on these things and make it happen this way rather than taking a long route. So some kind of a best practice videos goes a long way, and we've received some really good feedback on that.
Now we're talking about the agents. We're talking about using the agents effectively. Then we get into the words workforce management. What is it and why do you need it?
Yeah, that's another excellent question. The workforce management, referred to as WFM, WFO out there, is a key component in a contact center. The myth, or what people think, is that, hey, WFM is only needed when we have very large contact center in the hundreds of thousands of agents, because it measures, it does auto scheduling, real-time adherence. But BBX, we brought a WFM package for the SME market, so that even those smaller contact center can take advantage of this great measurement software. Again, that handles automatic scheduling, forecasting, adherence to schedule, and it's a world of difference when people apply workforce management in their contact center.
This slide presents a number of questions that need to be answered before you determine how well the contact center is operating. What are the most important questions to answer?
I mean, depending on your contact center, depending on the business that the customer is in, of course, if they are in healthcare, the top one is very important, HIPAA compliant. Most customers take payments over credit cards or deal with sensitive information over the phone, like social securities and so on. They have to be well in tune with PCI compliancy. California has some special regulation as well, the Consumer Privacy Act. So we need to, they need to be in tune with those, because these are have to do with regulations, and those are important. And of course, you get the general purpose for any contact center is allowing some budget for professional services, because in the world we're in, there is always integration that is needed between a contact center software, a CRM product, or some other application. The more integration, the more we make it easier for agents to do their job. But customers typically do not have a budget for that. So that's another important topic to raise for customers.
Let's go into that for a moment. What you're saying to me is a contact center could be plug and play, but that doesn't get the benefits. Is that correct?
Oh, that's absolutely correct. A vast majority of the contact centers we do, it's rarely a plug and play and just have it operate, because customers have some specific needs. They all tell us, hey, we have this application, we have this CRM, and we are trying to integrate that into the contact center to make it easier for our agents to operate. And more often than not, you need to engage into that integration with those third-party applications. And customers need to be in tune with that this actually enhances the contact center and the agent interactions.
There are lots of tips for success. Would you discuss these 5 tips for us?
Yes, considering having a consultant, yeah, a lot of people, they use just internal resources. They use their IT, their contact center directors to keep up with technology. But consultants, that's their job. They are part of every trade show. They keep up with technology, and they're able to give some good tips to a company. So this is a good tip to have. In terms of scope of work, yeah, that's very important. I mean, customers, if we have to give them, a couple good advices, is always ask for a detailed scope of work of any new call center of any size, or sometimes even ask for scope of work when you do an upgrade or when customers purchase a new feature. A scope of work will go a long ways because it will detail how the feature will operate, how the call center would be implemented, and the time frame and the ETAs and what to expect. And maintenance, that's another significant thing to ask for ahead of time. Make sure that customers ask for a detailed maintenance agreement that includes the coverage dates, the auto renewals, costs in the future. All those, again, are very important to get done upfront and not being surprised later.
Not everyone who calls a contact center is looking for the same type of interaction. Why do you need such diversity?
Yeah, that's a good question. You see, I personally have been in the contact center software industry for a number of years. And you know what? I'm still amazed by the fact that not 2 contact centers are 100% identical. There's so many little changes, twists, and requirements from the customers. And that's what BBX Technologies we saw, is a flexibility to provide this shop a la carte and allow really customers to pick and choose just the right solution for them by picking up from all these different modules and options. So the more diversity, the more flexibility for our customers.
Many of our viewers may not know BBX Technologies. Would you cover some of your growth and development?
Sure. So BBX Technologies, we are contact center software folks. We've been that way for a number of years, and that's our specialty. So we have thousands and tens of thousands of users deployed, and that's our business. That's what we know best, and we've been following in the progression from way back in 2000 and adding all the multimedia, adding the omnichannel, adding the auto outdial, the predictive dialers, and keeping up with the industry.
When I look at this slide, I see a large number of customers on the slide. What attracted those customers to your solutions?
Yes, what we keep hearing over and over from our customers from all sizes is really the flexibility of the Vuesion software, its architecture. The fact that they can pick and choose their options, pick a la carte, and whether they buy it up front or whether they buy it a year later to add like an omni-channel option. The way we price it, the way we offer it, it's very flexible. It makes sense. They're not charged later if they want to add more options. It's really the same way. And they really like the flexibility, and they like the support that they get. There's the one-on-one support that they get on the contact center are the 2 big elements that keep our customers coming to BBX Technologies.
I'd like to point out to the viewers, there are a number of resources available, and the previous EDUcast best practices for customer experience, some blogs that are also available from BBX. This is their new address. I believe you just moved to a better location. And I'd like to thank Mark for this informative EDUcast today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you for having me.